The book of Enoch is hidden end-time warnings that churches just won't tell you. The book of Enoch is full of end-time warnings, but should we trust them? It begins with an end-time vision, the words of the blessing of Enoch. So it's a blessing after all, huh? According to which he blessed the chosen and righteous who must be present on the day of tribulation, which is appointed for the removal of all the wicked and unpious. It states that it's intended for those alive at the time of the tribulation, and that probably means what's going to happen within the next few years. But 99% of churches just won't tell you what the end-time warnings are in this book. Why is that? It's a book that lives in infamy. It's shrouded in mystery. It was quoted in the New Testament 128 times, more than any other Old Testament book, many times by none other than Jesus himself, once even by name by Jude, Jesus' brother. It's found among the Dead Sea Scrolls with 11 copies. Only 6 books of the Bible had more copies there. Yet, it isn't in the canon of Scripture, either for Christians or for Jews. And it's taboo to be discussed in most circles. And that's made its end-time warnings taboo also. So, was it written by Enoch, the man that lived before the flood? We know at least one verse was, because Jude, Jesus' brother, tells us so. That verse, Enoch 1:9, was referenced over a dozen times in the New Testament, and it forms the basis of our understanding of a second coming. Moses, Daniel, Zechariah, Isaiah, Jesus, Paul, John, and others all refer to this verse. But what about the rest of the book? Who wrote that? This is Bible teacher Nelson Walters, and we should start by explaining why it isn't considered canonical today. At the time of Jesus, Enoch was highly respected among the Jews. The Essenes, who had it in their library, that was the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees too. In one of his rebuttals to the Sadducees, Jesus referred to a verse from Enoch saying that it was Scripture. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees present didn't take exception to what he was calling it. However, immediately after 70 AD, when the Jewish canon was codified, this book was dropped. Why? Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who wrote the Zohar, if you've heard of that, if you haven't, we can do a whole video on that someday, said that Enoch was helpful for learned sages like himself, but it should be banned for common people who are more likely to be swayed by it into believing in Jesus. Yeah, Jesus had a lot to do with this. You see, Enoch refers to a messianic figure called the Son of Man. That should sound familiar to you. And prophecies about this Messiah portray him as a divine figure who shares power with God the Father himself. So when Jesus claimed that authority, in Matthew 26:64, the high priest tore his robes and condemned Jesus to death. Here is what got Jesus killed. I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power, coming on the clouds of heaven. Jesus was quoting Daniel 7:13, but also Enoch chapter 46. You see, Daniel refers to these ideas directly from Enoch. So that's what Judaism did, and it was their reason for banning the book. And that reason was that it was leading too many to Christ. So why did Christians ban this book? Many early Christian fathers quoted from it and considered it scripture. However, by the 3rd century, only Tertullian seemed to support it. Later on, it was strongly opposed by the Catholic-influenced scholars such as Augustine, Origen, and even Jerome, who compiled the Latin Vulgate. I consider all those guys heretics. You could take sides whether they were or not. I think they were heretics. I think they led this church astray for 2,000 years.